is not the time to just be living your normal life and just be like, oh well, Jesus, take the wheel. Hi weirdos! So this vlog was not the video that I had intended on posting this week, but I didn't really feel like it would be right or integral of me to just show up for you guys without addressing what's actually going on in the world right now. So here we are. And if you hear the faint sound of yelling, it is because Dan is working from home right now, and that's what he sounds like when he makes a phone call. I know, it's so loud. It only happens when he's on the phone though. He's like cool and chill and quiet. He's like, hey Shaz, how's it going? Hello? So loud. So I apologise. But this is where we're at right now. So let's get right to it. Coronavirus. It is upon us, and if it's not upon us when I'm making this video, it probably will be by the time I post it. This video is going to cover 3 things. Number 1, why I'm not afraid of the virus. Number 2, why you can be hopeful in this season. That is my doorbell. Where was I? Why I'm not afraid of the virus, why you guys could be hopeful in this season too, and what we should be doing as millennials and Christians in response to. So I live in Bath, and as of yesterday, which was, what day are we on today? Wednesday. Tuesday, the shops are still open, some cafes are still open, and people are still out, although they look miserable. Now in general, I just try to smile at people when I make eye contact with them on the street. I just think it's nice and it's less awkward, and I just try and make people smile in their day. But I was walking around town and I didn't feel like I could smile at some of these people. Like, I genuinely didn't feel like it was right. At one stage, I was walking into a shop and this little lady was like walking out, and I caught eyes with her, and the look on her face was just like, she just was so scared that I might boop her as I walked past. And it was kind of at that moment that I realised how scary and hopeless this situation must be for just a lot of you guys out there. But if you're feeling like this, I really just want to encourage you today. There is still so much that we can be grateful for, and there is still a lot of hope to have, especially for us Christians. So, why I'm not afraid of the virus. For me personally, I'm just not afraid of this virus, and you guys don't have to be either. There is this verse in the Bible, in Matthew 6 verse 19 to 21, in the NIV translation, which says, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth where moths and vermin destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourself treasures in heaven where moths and vermin do not destroy and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will also be." And although I love my house and all my things that I have here, and they're all very sentimental and useful, and I love the things that I have in my little home bubble with my husband, I already know that none of these things are going to go with me when I die. And the things that are eternal are my relationships with God and with others. So I hope that when the crunch does come for me, people would have known me in life as a person who doesn't just treasure material things, but someone who treasures people. If you come to my house, I want you to feel that way when you step in the door, that I treasure you and I love you and I'm here for you and I value you. And I kind of hope that I make you feel like that even over videos, because my hope doesn't lie in this life. My hope lies in heaven and eternity. And so I know that already this body is going to decay, is going to die, and actually I'm looking forward to when I get to sit in heaven with Jesus and with God and be in his presence and all of that jazz. And that is what I have as a Christian. If the worst case should happen for me, I still win. So that's enough about me, but let's talk about how you guys can have hope in this season. Now, along with the virus, there has been a mass spread of fear and confusion. But we know that the spirit of fear does not come from God. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7 says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind." Power, love, and a sound mind. So in this time, our spirit should not be worried or fearful, sat in a corner, afraid and paralyzed and immobile. Our spirit should be moved by power, love, and having a sound mind. So let me break this down for you. Fear was not supposed to dwell in our bodies. It's not something that we innately should have. That's why it makes us sick. That's why stress made my hair fall out that time. That's another story. It comes to us first as a spirit, and we can either partner with it and take it on board as our own, or we can point at it, call it out, and deny it its power by refusing to partner with it and have faith instead. Now, I know what this feels like. Last week I had a routine appointment for something totally unrelated, and I was chatting with my doctor and she was talking about the virus, and then I left and I came home and I was starting to flip. Now, Dan asked me what I'd taken home from the appointment and what belief system I had in my head, and I realised I'd taken on this belief that if we run out of food, it's my fault. The spirit of fear was lying to me and telling me it was more responsible to be afraid. And that's not true. And so I had to rebuke that and break that tie with that belief, and actually had to choose to partner with the spirit of power, of love, and having a sound mind. I'm sure you guys all know this verse, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. Matthew 6 verse 25 to 34 says, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life?" Could you not find a more apt verse when people are literally stockpiling like doomsday preppers? This verse says that God cares about you and he's going to provide for you. So for me, that did it. I know that actually if we run out of food, God's going to provide for us. It's not all on me. It's not my responsibility. Yes, I want to be wise and have enough food for the season, but God is going to provide that food and I trust him. And maybe you don't need food or loo roll, but maybe what you need more is peace. And God can give that to you. All you need to do is break the ties that you've made with fear and confusion and turn to him and put your trust in him. Now, I don't want to sound naive. I know that this virus is dangerous. It's making people sick, and it's also caused a lot of people to die. And so keeping your eyes on heaven and practicing not being afraid of sickness is one thing. But we also need to be aware that there are still global implications for trying to stop the spread of the virus. Systems and structures are being shut down every day. Like schools and hospitals, local businesses and churches are being closed. So everything we rely on, from the economy down to transport, they're all crumbling and falling apart right now. So regardless of actually getting sick, how do we as Christians respond to the other global implications of the virus without just freaking out and have some sort of wisdom? So firstly, we need to remember that God is still God over everything. All that exists is his, including toilet rolls. They all belong to him. And we know that God can use any and all things for our good and for his glory. So we need to be a bit more self-reflective and ask ourselves, are my hopes in the things of this world? Am I relying on a stockpile of loo roll to get me through the storm? And if it turns out that we're not relying on God and his goodness to get us through, we need to turn back to him and find a way to align our hearts with his. So secondly, as Christians, we need to be asking, what good does God want to bring out of this awful situation? Take some time to think about it now. Maybe one thing that can come out of this is that the church will rise up and show people what hope looks like. You know, we could be setting the example that even in the worst times, we can have hope, we can have joy in the presence of God, we can trust in his goodness, but we can also have deep, deep empathy and care and love, just like Jesus did. And as much as I can encourage you, tell you to pray and trust that God has some way that he's going to bring this all for good, there is still individual responsibility that we need to take in this time. This is not the time to just be living your normal life and just be like, oh well, Jesus take the wheel. Please, if you are a young'un or a millennial and you are partnering with the thinking of it's fine, it's only affecting old people, please stop. That is the kind of thinking that ends up with more people sick and dying and hospitals being completely overworked. And whatever age the sickness is affecting people, those people are still people. So please, for the sake of all the oldies and all the other people at risk, wash your hands, buy responsibly, don't add to fear-mongering, and please self-isolate. Now, I know it seems scary being at home, but if you think about it, before the virus, we all spent hours on our phone, scrolling, watching Netflix in our bedrooms, binge watching, FaceTiming, and avoiding going out and being in social environments and seeing people face to face. So if you think about it, it's almost like we've been training for this for years. Us young'uns have got to show up for the older people and do what needs to be done to stop this virus spreading. And it's not like we don't know how to. We have the internet. But please, please, please do not get yourself into just like a binge fest where you're just scrolling through Netflix to pass the time. Your time on earth, even in isolation, is of value. So take a look around you and ask yourself, what can I make of this? What can I give? What do I need? And then create that thing. See isolation as a birthplace for inspiration. When I was feeling really lonely a couple of years ago, I decided to start having some women over every other week, and we now have been meeting up for over a year, and they are some of my closest friends. Now obviously having people over your house might not be the answer here, but the likelihood is that other people want the same thing you do. They want connection, they want engagement, and they want to be valued. So have a think about what you'd really appreciate right now and then go and make that happen. Start a video book club, watch a movie with a friend over Skype. And if you don't have hours of data or Wi-Fi to rely on, use this time in a different way. Learn something new. I've been learning how to make tortilla bread and bagels and even my own milk out of oats. Out of oats. Not from my body. And what's great about this is all I need is a few ingredients rather than popping to the shop to try and buy something that already might be out of stock. And as a bonus, I've learned how to do something new. So maybe for you the answer is to show up for your neighbours in your local community. Maybe you need to go shopping for them or ask them what their grocery list is and go out and get it for them. So just take a look at your situation and your resources right now and ask God how you can use them to bring about light in this dark season. I know that one thing that has helped us for sure is not being on social media. I know that we've learnt the necessary information without being bombarded every minute of every day with more updates. So just be careful with what you're watching and sharing in the meantime. Avoid going on your phone when you're feeling really anxious. Don't share anything online that promotes fear. And try not to binge all the news updates. Believe me, if there's something that you need to know, you will hear about it without having Facebook or Instagram or even having a television. So be responsible, use what you have to initiate growth or create something new. Show up for your community and those in need around you, and trust God that He's going to provide everything you need in this season. Now, I'm not entirely sure what the next few weeks are going to bring for me. I might take some time off vlogging and just seek God and find out if I could be investing my time into anything else that's more useful. Maybe I'd be doing more vlogging just to bring you guys some light and laughter in this time. I did have one idea of how to have date night while you're self-isolating and like stuff like that. So if you want to see that stuff, let me know. As I said, Dan is now working from home, so I don't know what it's going to look like here for us. But the one thing I do know is that right now, wherever you are, God is in the room. And even in the darkest of situations, He can give you hope. Job 8 verse 21 says, He will yet fill your mouth with laughing and your lips with rejoicing. So stay healthy, stay hopeful, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.